Megan Brown, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Where are you today?
I am at the University of Arkansas in Fayetteville, Arkansas right now. Yeah,
What's happening?
Big
just got,
sweet.
I know, got invited to speak to a class. I feel so important.
Wait, what are you speaking to? What are you speaking about? You are important.
Uh, it's a landscape, it's like a fourth year landscape architecture class. They did a studio presentation on a project that they're doing in a local community and had kind of just asked for some area input on feedback. So through my work with ULI, they were just kind of asking on like just kind of getting feedback from industry professionals. So it was weird, but
Cool.
cool and exciting.
Did you already do it?
Yeah, I've been
Okay.
here since 8 o'clock.
Ooh, got it.
And Megan, guess where I am today?
Home?
No, I'm at Rome, home Rome.
Oh,
You could have a wall like that at home. So
Yeah, it would be really cool. Too
you're
many,
at the new
too many
Rome
different.
location in Frisco. This is their first location outside of Atlanta, right?
It is, and it's freaking awesome. I'll post some more pictures. That they're hosting us for the next two podcasts today. So this one and the one with Grant. So I'm
Cool.
excited. So the grand openings today, and so it's super cool space. It's like half event, half office
Oh,
space,
wow.
which
Okay.
is newer for them. Typically, they were like originally they were probably 85 15, so 85 event to 15% office, and they've slowly increased their office side. And so this one has, I want to say 70 something offices, but still a huge, so they got one, two, six different event spaces of different sizes. So super cool.
They're doing really, Megan, have you ever been in a Rome before?
I don't think so. I'm familiar with them ish, but I don't think I've been in one.
Okay, well, to bring it back to the GWA, which is partly what we're here to talk about. Um, so their director of marketing, Morgan Burns, was on my panel at the GWA conference this year, and she is a rock star. It was such a good panel. It was her and Javier and Rob Archer from Codebase in Virginia.
Oh, yes.
So I got to hear their story, and they're doing really well in Atlanta because they have so much meeting space with all the Fortune 500 companies that are like, yeah, we don't need to meet at headquarters. We can meet, like nearby where people live. So they were doing very well with meeting room rentals, kind of coming out of COVID. But yeah, their whole
That's
interesting.
that's how I know about them. Michael Everts, I think, was preaching their story a few
Oh,
years ago
Michael used
to
to,
me.
yes. Well, Michael
Yeah,
lives in Atlanta, so I think he
yeah,
works out of Rome a lot.
yeah.
He is the one who first introduced me to Rome as well. And it was Miro who introduced me to Morgan for the panel. So,
Okay.
And to
Nice.
make it even, I mean, so their pedigree is, so the two executives are Peyton, who is come out of the Days Inn family, so Peyton Day,
Okay.
and then David, I'm gonna mess up his name, Saylor, I think is his last name. And he's Chick-fil-A former
they have
executive.
like
So
a big hospitality
Oh,
background.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's I remember what Michael's sharing about because it was when he was on our advisory board. And I think it was kind of maybe around COVID talking about ideas for maybe the virtual conference or just webinar topics. Rome and their hospitality background was his big
Yeah.
push. So,
I'm going to put a
oh, so fun.
you should get Morgan on the podcast. She's actually on my list for my own podcast because I was like, this girl is awesome. She needs to be on more stuff.
yeah,
Well,
I'm
I
trying
have
to get
a
Peyton or David on ours to talk about their stories. So
Yeah,
hopefully one of the two, one or both of them are here tonight. So
you'll
I
work
can
it.
knock them down. So, but yeah, super excited. I mean, and just like this is a great example of how many brands are out there that aren't actively involved with us at GWA, and that we have the ability to go out and capture, right? And so I think this is
You're going to
great,
capture them. Like you're going to
just like these guys got captured, but
exactly and
we'll
put
keep
oh
them
them
my
alive.
on the
god.
GWA wall.
We want European mount them. But I mean, I think this is a good time to kind of talk about y'all's background, right? I mean, I know that y'all go way back. I mean, you're kind of like a mentor slash work mom for her, huh, Jamie?
No, we're just
Oh,
friends. Work bomb. We're total buds.
Jamie, maybe this is my time to tell the story that I tell about you to everybody else.
Jamie,
Oh,
let me help
no.
you feel better. Megan actually calls Sid and I mom and dad. So
Okay, that
don't
just
feel
makes
so
me
bad,
feel
right?
Well, Gio and I got the mom and dad at Juicy, and I was like,
We
"Whoa,
did. We did.
come on."
Pretty funny. So, all right, tell us the story, Megan.
So Jamie and I go back 2010.
Oh, was it
20, yeah,
2010? Was it that late?
I think so. Well, yeah, because I moved to Chicago in 2009. So
Oh, okay.
Jamie and I got connected through a mutual friend when I was kind of on the job hunt. Long story short, thought I was going to be in finance. Still actually love Excel sheets and numbers, but thought I was going to go to the banking world. That was around 08, 09. If anybody remembers what was happening then during the financial market. My job at the time was underwriting small business administration loans and seeing these
I didn't know
passionate
that.
people, yeah, these
Wow.
passionate people pouring their entire life savings into these daycares and gas stations and these loans that they were getting government support for. And my job was to pull their credit reports and see their financial statements and see everything that they poured into it. And then their business is just collapsing. And it was heartbreaking. That's actually when I was living in Atlanta. And so my husband was offered a hotel job in Chicago. So we picked up and moved, knew one person who happened to be a mutual friend of mine and Jamie. So I kind of bounced around, tried to figure out what I wanted to do next. And Jamie was hiring at a previous organization that we worked for called Healthy Interactions, which wasn't a nonprofit, but worked with in the healthcare education world, especially with type 2 diabetes. And so I joined the team as sort of like event producer, but kind of on the other end of what we deal with now. So I was the one that was going into the larger like American Diabetes Association type events and helping coordinate the booths that were there and things like that. So I think I joined 2010, and I think was it 2011 when you stepped away. I was thinking about this as I was prepping for this, but I don't think we actually worked together that long.
It's so interesting because that was like a lifetime in my mind. That's so funny. I did.
I
signed
know.
for my co-working space at the end of 2011, and I had Dagny that year too, right? Yeah, November of 2011. I must have signed my lease in September-ish, and then I had Dagny, and then opened in February of 2012.
And my favorite story, I remember you coming in, I was working in a conference room, and our education company did these like table size like posters. They called them maps, educational maps. And I was in there like trying to prep for some big event, and she walked in like very solemn. It's like, I gotta let you know I'm leaving. I'm like, oh, so sad. She's like, I'm going to start a co-working space. I'm like, what's co-working? Like, I don't know what that means. So longer story shorter, she went in and she started her company. And I think I can't remember how long you were there before you moved off, but I remember coming and doing some programming there. I remember doing some business yoga, or like we'd come down to lunch break.
No, I think I roped you in for a photo shoot. I think I was like, I need, because we had a studio, we had a wellness studio, and I think I was like, I need you to come and wear yoga clothing, and we're doing a photo shoot. Oh, you were a model for my regular photo shoot. I think I maybe made you change clothing. You were like serious models, because I think I can picture you in my meeting room photos.
Possibly. I do remember that.
Going back so far, because that was right, 2012. That's 12 years. Wow, 11 years ago. Yikes. Wow.
We're like,
okay, anyway, I totally forgot about that.
No. Well, and then I came and actually managed some of your events. Like I would just the day of kind of make sure people were checked in and things like that. I think 3 or 4. Yeah. So it was my first dive into co-working. Which was really exciting. So then I can't remember exact timelines you left, but around summer of 2017, I started with my second child, and I had just kind of hit the peak at that company. And it's a small enough company that there's not really like the trajectory to like move on up, or you'd have to like do this other role that I didn't want to dive into. So I was at that point of I was going to take a break and just do the mom thing for a while, or actually that's probably where I was headed. And I just happened to reach out to Jamie, who wasn't living in Chicago at the time, and just said like, hey, if you know anybody in the area, not looking to move or anything like that, but I'm just keeping my options open. And I think probably within a minute, well, I just got approval from our board to hire, I think the title was like association manager at the time for this, for the association that I'm working for. And I think we'd kept in touch enough that I knew a little bit about what it does, but still like really my only experience with coworking was in a space at the time in Chicago.
We were working in, what's it called?
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what was it? It was not 18, whatever the number was.
No.
It was in the merchandise mart of
Wait,
Chicago.
Matter?
Yeah.
No, Matter? No.
Yeah, Matter.
Matter. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
Which
Okay.
was supposed to be a health education like incubator. Sort of co-working. We had our little desk pod of, I guess it's just me and Julia,
Dedicated
two people.
desks. Totally.
Yeah.
It was really a co-working. I mean, co-working with an incubator focus. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I completely kind of blocked that part out. But it was my first opportunity to experience co-working as the user, because they did have events. We went to a few. We may have been asked to speak at one. I can't remember. But yeah. So then we met. You came in to Chicago one time, showed me the job description, which was just like bulleted list of things. Like, hey, here's what I need help with. I was like, that sounds doable. So November something 2017, my very first day on the job was the board meeting the day before the day that the Brooklyn conference launched.
That's right, which we did with NAIOP, which we had moved from. It was the year we had a hurricane in, like, on the day of the conference in Miami. And NAIOP called and said, you could just join us in New York, because what are you going to do? What are you going to do about this? So we moved the whole conference to November in New York with NAIOP, which we then did again with them in Austin. And so I forgot that was your first actual, right. Yeah. So,
but it's where I met Ashley Buckner. I met David Kennard. I met Ian. I
think Laura Kay was still on the board then.
Laura
right?
Kay, yes. She was heading off. Mark was on, Kane. Yeah. My first encounter with a lot of the people that are still heavy hitters in the industry and still people I consider friends. So yeah, exciting.
Okay, so Megan is the kind of person who doesn't want to do everything, but is the kind of person you trust to do whatever it takes to get done. Like, something is in Megan's lap, it's happening, and it's happening well. I'm sure you've seen this already, which is why you insisted that she come back. So she didn't have an option. She didn't have an option. She did have an option. You were just very, very persuasive, Megan.
So there's a really popular book that I've been introduced to recently. I haven't read it yet, but Extreme Ownership. I think it's probably, especially in the real estate world, it's like really known. And it's just the idea of, like, as managers, just taking ownership in everything. So it's not necessarily your job role, but if something falls out, what was something that you could have contributed to make that better? What is something that you can contribute to make that? And I think that was just without knowing, like, and probably not always in the healthiest of times, but like something that I just kind of intuitively, like, I instantly wanted everything to run as smoothly as possible, be as enjoyable for everybody as possible, be as educational. And I think it was just always this, like, how can we do it better mindset. And so I took a lot of, I always kind of dove into all the things to just see how we could make it better. Plus it was you and me for a couple of years. So we just had to do it. We had to do all the things. So,
and we owe you, the two of you, a lot, right? I mean, that's how we've gotten to where we are today. And, certainly been a few interesting years for the entire industry, but excited to have you back, Megan. And Jamie, I know you're always involved in some capacity across the entire association, being one of the faces of the industry. So
people ask me if I'm still involved, and I say, I'm a big advocate. I'm here, I'm here to help.
Well, I will say, just to wrap up that story, I'm grateful that you were in my life, because it was a huge moment of, I really don't believe I'd be where I am right now if I had not met you. And especially with the flex industry and GBA, kind of bringing it back around, like, I would not have had this opportunity if not for you taking the opportunity on me that really did have a ton of experience, education. Like, I have no clue what I'm doing. So thank you.
Except that I knew the extreme ownership piece is a good way to think about it. I knew I still would hire you to do anything. So, and I'm glad to have you back, because you're super fun. Oh, wait, we have lots of, do you know Megan sings? Gio, do you know this about Megan? Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Uh-oh. There we go. Uncensored.
Look at
Maybe
her,
we'll
she's
make her
turning
sing on the
red.
podcast.
I am a
So
little bit.
she turns red, and the other thing I experienced, she does this hand thing where she's like Mr.
Oh.
Miyagi, where she like
That's
rubs her hands together.
I
And she said
don't
it runs
even
in
know
the
I'm doing
family.
it, guys.
She said it runs in the
Does.
family.
Oh.
So my maiden name is Penny, and they're like it comes from my dad. And apparently I've learned there's other people in the world that do this. It's sort of like it's not nervous. It's like almost this like sense of excitement rush that you just have to get out. And anyway, so they used to call it the penny friction.
Oh,
We all would just do it. Yeah.
Okay, so tell us about your musical career, please.
Oh my gosh, it's like feels like a lifetime ago. I grew up in a really musical family. I'm sorry, guys, got a little loud. Grew up in a musical family. Actually thought I started off being a music business major at my small Christian school in Southwest Missouri, but just had sort of in that moment of like that age of not really knowing what I wanted to do with my life, but I could sing, and so let's just try music. Turns out there wasn't a great program there, so I stuck with the general business degree, which has served me plenty well. But after college, joined up with actually a ministry group that was a vocal group that toured the world singing and going into the churches and schools, and met my husband on that team. Got to go to France, Dominican Republic, all over the US.
Is he a choir
Doing
boy?
that. No, he's a tech guy.
I was about to say, does he sing?
Does he sing at all?
No.
So then how was he tied into that? Sorry, I missed that part.
So we were a team of, I think there were like 5 singers, and then we had like a guy that ran sound, a guy that ran like computer slides and tech, which is what he did.
Okay.
Fun fact, we traveled, so it was based out of Northern Atlanta. We traveled on a tour bus that was once owned by MC Hammer. It was his tour bus. And it still had the mirrors on the ceiling.
Wait, mirrors on
the pray just to make it today. You've got to pray.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
MC Hammer's tour bus. Yeah, they had, I don't know how much was built up after it went to this like Christian recording group called New Song after it. So they may have cleaned it up a little bit, but it had bunks on the back, and yeah, it had a table, and we literally traveled. We were based in Atlanta from like July to August, and then we were just traveling the rest of the year. So did that from January to December right after college, met my husband around August, and then before I met him, thought I would do that for a little while. Then my plan was to move to Nashville, and my dream was to just do like studio singing. I had no like, even now I'm not
want to be on a stage.
I mean, I would have been background. I'm not the biggest limelight person, but so didn't see myself like in the big lights, but it was just had a talent, just thought I would do that. So yeah, in fact, we ended up moving to Chicago in 2009. I joined up with, I had a friend that worked for some record companies in California, and he connected me with a woman in Chicago that wrote her own songs and was looking for a background singer. So I did that for a little while. We actually sang at Taste of Chicago. We went down to Nashville and sang. In fact, I can't believe I'm saying this. There is a YouTube video out there. It's really hard to find, so I'm not giving you any other hints, but it's me singing in Nashville on stage by myself, but sort of
by
on
yourself. Ooh.
Yeah. Anyway, so I thought I would do that for a little bit. Jamie, I can't believe you don't know this, or maybe you do. She also sang while she was writing songs, sang with this other group that was just becoming too busy for her. So she offered me up as the singer. It was a Johnny Cash, Tom Petty cover band called Petty Cash. Yeah. And so
this was in Chicago.
This is in Chicago.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ragtop. Oh shoot. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna find the YouTube video now. The first group I sang with, she's the one that I did Taste of Chicago with. We did like a lot of bars like in Lincoln Square and like what's the one over by Cafe Barbaria, that street. There were a couple bars there that we sang in, which was really fun. But I may have even started Healthy Interaction. It was like a 11 o'clock on a Wednesday gig, and then you like are there till 1 a.m. and it was not sustainable. So that was it. That was I really haven't done a ton of singing. I was pretty involved in my worship team in a big church in Chicago, but yeah.
Like you sang on stage in Nashville? There's video of that you said?
Yeah, but it wasn't like, what's the big theater there? It wasn't like,
Opry?
it was
Opryland?
actually it sounds sketchy. It was like this guy's loft stage, but he had like big time singers that would come in. It was sort of like one of the off the beaten path. Like the woman that
Okay.
we sang with, she knew a bunch of producers, and so yeah,
Do you miss singing?
that's all the information I'm getting. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I live in that. Gina and I have had a couple of conversations of like, just you're never too old to do things, but I think it would just be a fun hobby. So there's a pretty big music scene here in Northwest Arkansas, and I have friends now that have their own restaurants and bars with stages and do open mics and stuff like that. So
Ooh.
who knows? We'll see.
Mm,
I am on Spotify technically with that group. It's awful though. I just figured this out like a couple months ago. The group that I was with in Atlanta. So my claim to fame.
maybe we'll get her to sing the national anthem to start off our day at GWA.
Oh my gosh, that's what. Can't we come up with?
I'm-
How about some Whitney Houston or something? National. anthem. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. No.
We can hear her
Leo.
sing. She can sing some MC Hammer.
There we go. I think she's more Whitney.
Singable.
More Whitney, I can see that.
Yeah. We used
No,
to
I
do
would.
kind of a lot of music at the conferences. One year we let everybody pick and walk on the stage song.
That would be pretty cool.
Was that before you?
Maybe. Yeah, because my year we started collecting the fun facts and we were reading the fun facts.
Oh, that's right. I think that was a
Yeah.
NAAP thing, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is
Okay.
fun but hard to do. Yeah. Some of the stuff that seems so easy in an event it's not easy to coordinate.
No.
So
I know.
That's why we
But-
brought you back.
Gio's experiencing this now. I harass him for details. So
Truth.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so Immersive is coming up. Tell me what you both are
Yeah.
excited about.
yeah, I can start. So Immersive is so quick backstory. I was with the association through about March of last year. So 4.5 years doing the association manager role. About when Jamie was stepping off, kind of bumped up to director of operations, kind of helped run the team. And then just came back this last March. So I have actually not gotten to experience Immersive. It officially kicked off last year with their first one in New York City, highlighting Tishman Spire. And the concept was really to kind of immerse ourselves and our attendees in a flex office product that is just knocking it out of the park in a variety of ways. So design, tech, location, the type of build, the model, their operations. And so that was really the origination of it. Kind of did a unique model from what I understand last year, kind of bouncing around to some different locations. So kind of building off of that idea of a smaller event. So for those of you that are longtime familiar with the GBA conference, the big annual conference, we've had upwards of like 450 people. It's a global reach. It's usually in a big metropolitan area, usually in a big hotel buyout. This is different. This is really more of a regional approach. So really kind of picking an area, finding a product there that is just knocking out of the park, such as Heinz, Texas Towers, where we're going to be on day one, and really immersing ourselves in the product, hearing from their team directly. So learning the story, learning again, like how are they running their events? How are they seeing their sales? Who are they targeting? Who are they seeing like from their customer base? Paired in with other local and some national speakers coming in. And then also what I'm really pushing, and I think there was some of this from what I understand last year, but so immersing our audience in the product, but really immersing themselves in the event as well. So not just in the networking, the lunch times and with the sponsors that we typically do, that will be a big part of it. But in the sessions themselves. So I've been encouraging in our prep calls with our speakers to really not have this be a panel with some Q&A at the end, like really involving the audience from the get-go, and really the audience is going to be a real mix of operators, probably a little bit even more landlord and building owner heavy than we've had at some of our bigger events. And so just really allowing that like constant communication of, oh, you just heard from this panel and this, what do you guys think? Like, have you experienced this? Like really just an immersion of this event. And then also like kind of an immersion in GWA. Like we're, like Gio said earlier, a big hurdle for us ever since I've been around is just awareness. We've done a ton of marketing. We've got a ton of word of mouth in our small industry that's really plugged in, but the industry is just blowing up. There's a lot more people interested. There's a lot more businesses interested. So how do we keep bringing those people in and just letting them know that we're here and what we're about? Anything to add, Gio?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the coolest part about it is seeing how other people are deploying and executing, right? I think that's really what it is. So this time we're actually going to be on 2 campuses. Last time it was just at Tishman Spire's Rockefeller Center location. And we saw the deployment of kind of event space, F&B, kind of a team space, and then even their smaller entrepreneurial and smaller team offices. And so this time I'm just seeing what Hines has done, having brought on Annie and everything they're doing there with the Square model, which is their co-working model they're deploying inside of their portfolio and even third party. So that's really neat. So we're going to bring in some really cool speakers to kind of tie things together from a technology standpoint, right? So what's Hines doing? What are we seeing other people do? And then day 2 is going to be at City Center, which is a really cool mixed use development in the suburbs of Houston. So we're going to bus everyone from Texas Tower. The local people meet us there. And so this development, I guess, has 9 office buildings, a hotel, a ton of apartments, and a bunch of overall restaurants and retail that ties everything together. There's a movie theater in there. There's a Lifetime Fitness, which actually then led to the first Lifetime Works in Texas, was done there. Spaces actually opened a location. They converted a Regis to a Spaces. It had done so well. So they went from 1 floor to 2.5 floors. And then in addition to that, you've got Fuse, who is a Texas brand based out of Dallas, but they've got a handful of locations in Austin, have recently sold their Dallas location to Caddo, but really cool space. And then there's even a Norris Conference Center, which is a traditional conference and event center in the development. So kind of how I think it's really unique times where we're seeing more product differentiation, right? You've got 3 different co-working types of operators in the space that play in a different crowd, that have different overall product offering. And then you've got the event center, which obviously is the traditional offering of having traditional conference and event space. So it's the goal is for people to be able to see different feels and how people are addressing them more on a regional, local life type level, that then people can take back into their communities and kind of see how it pertains to them particularly.
Well said.
You're on mute.
I am on mute. I thought I was going to sneeze, so I muted for a second. I felt I had a big one coming and then it disappeared. So I love the smaller format, like the immersive concept. I think that'll be a really nice, just sort of different experience vis-a-vis the bigger conference, which is in September, which I'm also looking forward to. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be in DC again, which is our second run there, right? I mean,
It's a great venue.
Yeah.
Super fun. Yeah.
Casinos,
Casinos,
you're still on board.
Casinos, music. It's a dangerous venue is what it is. Food. Yeah, everything's gonna be right there.
Yeah, Jennifer and I just popped back over there a couple weeks ago to kind of scope out again and really map out like what we can improve upon even from last year. And so, yeah, we've already got some really cool ideas. So bringing a lot of like what is expected from the conferences. So the high level of content and speaker quality, but fun networking, but also what are some of the other like just educational things that we can bring that really bring value. I've spent the last, I guess almost 2 months now, focusing on immersive, but also starting to have conversations with members and previous board members about like what brings you to the conference each year and what would encourage you to bring more of your team or to encourage somebody else to come. And so we've gotten some really cool feedback on things. So I'm excited. It'll be a fun conference.
They always are.
No, without a doubt. So Megan, having this be technically your second go around, I mean, what are you excited about? How have you seen the industry grow, but also even the association?
Yeah. So what I didn't mention in between that kind of year gap that I between GBUA is I went and still do work with our local Urban Land Institute chapter, we call them councils, which is really, it's a nonprofit association. It's been around longer than GBUA, but it really still has a lot of that focus of, it's a member driven, member focused nonprofit association, just really their focus on the built environment as a whole. So they claim, or their claim to fame is being the place where all of the land use and built environment people come together. So it's the architect, designer, the city officials, the flex office building owner, like all of those come together. But what was interesting in being in that world, I think sometimes, especially in my role with the association, that brings in a lot of different size of operators and types of operators and owners and some of that, you can kind of get into the drink the Kool-Aid mindset of like, flex is awesome, flex is awesome. In fact, at the end of every year, I think I said this to Jamie, I'm sure a couple of times, at the end of every year, we thought this is the year that's just going to explode for us, or, you know, things are just going to come together. This now, having been out of the association and not being around those people and understanding like there are conversations outside of GBUA and outside of the people that get it of flex, and they're not all like quite getting it. Like there's a hunger for it. There's just really trying to grasp like what it is. How do we make this work? So coming back, kind of seeing that world of it and not just being with like, everybody's like, yeah, it's going to be awesome. It's going to take off. This is, you know, the rah rah. It's really happening. So I think I'm really excited about that. I think also having kind of seen the inner workings of like another association and just how things are, you know, run, and just how things can be more encompassing of our industry as a whole. I'm really excited to try some new things and kind of get some things implemented that I think will kind of fill in some missing pieces that we've had over the past few years. So excited.
Well, we're really excited to have you back for sure.
Thanks. It's exciting. We've had some really amazing board members over the past few years that have really just like driven from, I mean, some people that have stuck around even longer, like just people that I first met, like, I mean, even Jamie, you went from director to board member for a while to still sort of advisor. But I'm really excited about this board. No offense to any past board members, but our board meeting that we just had was one of the most exciting, just action-driven board. And I think this is a board of doers and a board of like, just really helping get it out. And we have an operational team. So there's myself, we have Jennifer, who runs our sponsorship sales and is also really diving into some of the event logistics. We've brought back Miranda Stewart, for those of you longtime GBUA fans as well. We kind of have sort of the running joke, we've got the dream team back together. But with all of that, like we are nothing without our board leadership as well. So I think what's different now this time is we've got the team that's really going to drive a lot of the day-to-day and just kind of keep the ball rolling, engaging with the members, but having the board expertise of connection and helping us drive what our content should be, help us drive our overall messaging, helping us drive our outreach. It's really exciting. I feel like there's a lot of things clicking this year.
Megan, we run through who's on the board, because I feel like I've always thought the same thing, like the board is such a strength of the association, and the fact that they're you know, it is a board that's you know, diverse in terms of, you know, types of operations and some vendors, and run us through who they are.
Yeah, so we have co-presidents this year, which is a new for me, but I'm actually kind of loving it. So we have Sid Romberg, who operates a space, like 2 locations or 3 now, or about to be 3.
They're about to open 3 and 4.
Okay, maybe that's what it is. Brick House Blue in Ohio, and then Giovanni. They serve in their co-president's role, and I like to joke that they're literally kind of yin and yang of like, but it like how they divide and conquer of what their expertise are. So it's really helpful to me, who's helping, like kind of helping to pull this team back together and really give us a focus for the association.
By the way, she calls us mom and dad.
I do call them guys, but our meetings are the best. They fight like mom and dad. They make up like mom and dad. It's funny. So yeah. Matt Going with Anytime Mailbox serves in our secretary role, and it's our secretary who actually
take notes. Right.
No offense to our previous secretary,
No.
Brandon
Brandon
Nervous,
Madeira.
but
Not his strength. Just not his strength. Not his strength. We get it. He's got other strengths. He's got other superpowers. Michelle Pinerando with Preferred Office Network is our treasurer. Annie Draper is one of our directors. Miro with Heinz. Miro Slavov with Office R&D. Richie Parsons with VentureX. Javier Garcia with iOS Offices, and Mike Creel with Launch Workplaces. Right? Okay. Sometimes I mix up the places and the spaces. So yeah, they all just they all bring a breadth of experience and just the types of organizations they're with, the size of the organizations, what they bring. So we've got a lot of operators, but we have Matt, who's a provider as well. Yeah, it's a great team. And I think that's something to highlight too about the association. We are an association. We're a nonprofit. We are member driven. We are member focused. I don't think we've always messaged that as clearly before, but like that's our role in this industry that maybe differentiates from others. It's just we're a member based organization. We rely on our members. We rely on our supporters. So we have a lot of service providers and the companies that are in your spaces all across the world that help support us as well. And we would not be around, we would not exist if not for that support. So,
yeah. And so I think we have a really unique group of people that all bring different skill sets, right? I mean, we were very methodical about realizing and making people realize that this is a working board, right? And I think that's some of the things that are different from other boards is lots of times the board shows up once a month and kind of gives their seal of approval and moves on. But for us, I mean, we really do need multiple hands driving and pushing some of the different agendas. And so that's what I'm excited about this year is how do we create committees that are driving their individual portions of content and overall goals that we've come up with as a board for the association. And so I think that's a big part of it is as we get more brand differentiation with product mix. And I mean, every time we look up, there's new vendors, right, that are offering something new and unique and cool. And so I think that staying on top of all those things is a huge value to the association, our members, our potential members, and even partners, right? Is how do we continue serving the community?
Okay, can we wrap up with Megan telling us a little bit about her real estate empire? This is the other thing I love about Megan, and Gio, I know you know this about Megan, is that I remember Megan talking about, being interested in real estate and listening to Bigger Pockets, and you and Lauren at the same time were like, you got to listen to this podcast. And she went to town and she made it happen. And it's so, I have so much respect and admiration for your commitment and just, you're so brave. It takes a lot of bravery to figure things out that you've never done before and just like sort of feel the fear and do it anyway. You've been living that for the last few years. So
I just had a conversation with somebody this afternoon about this. Is like, he said it was some quote he read somewhere about always living a little scared. And it's kind of the antithesis of how I operate. Like I am in operations. I like plans. I like to put together.
Right.
Yeah, I like to put together. I love to like know what's going to go on. And I really do. I always have like a 3 to 5 year plan about our family, our financial state, what that always looks like. But I'm also kind of live in this world of like, well, if they could do it, I can do it. And so
that's how you make me feel. I'm like, Megan Brown's doing it. I love it.
I'm also, I don't sit still well. And so part of the reason why I like jump in to do it, all the things, but I also think it's great to continue to learn and continue to challenge. And I've always, what I've been learning recently is I've always had an interest in real estate. In fact, before even GBA was around, I had looked at what that would look like a career. And as a young female, the only thing that was presented to me was a real estate agent. I'm not a natural salesperson. That's why we have a salesperson on our team. I would give everything away. That's just not how I work. but learning like there are a ton of different routes to go into that world. And one of them is just like, and I'm kind of dumbing it down because there are a lot of risk and a lot of things, but through a lot of education and realizing it's not as hard as it seems, at least. We now own 3 rental doors, and I've launched about this time last year a development company with 2 other women called Raleigh Properties, and we're developing a 26-unit development in a downtown area of Northwest Arkansas that's really up and coming, and is in an area that the city is really pouring into and really behind the project. And through a lot of the relationships I built with ULI, they're really kind of supportive, and it's just kind of become like, hopefully this whole kind of community engagement. We even had a meeting yesterday about how do we get more of the community involved? How do we maybe secure like some kind of grant focus? Our mission is really to provide walkable housing at a workforce affordable price, so that the restaurant workers that live downtown, the fire department. So Northwest Arkansas is not any different than a lot of the communities that have seen a lot of growth over the last couple of years, where we have kind of outpriced a lot of our workforce housing professionals. And so how do we, to the point where police officers are having to live 2 towns down the road just to work in the town that they work in. So what's some way that we can kind of help make that not the case? So yeah, it's a little bit of a passion project. It's also an investment, but it's scary and exciting and all the things at the same time. So.
That's awesome.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah.
So Gio, if you were to ask, that's one of my favorite things about Megan. I have a lot of favorite things about Megan, but
that means a lot.
I admire your overall passion and drive to be more and do more, right? But in addition to that, your passion to your family and just how committed you are. It shows in everything you do. I mean, I've got friends that basically live by the rule of how you do one thing's how you do everything. And so that's very apparent in your life and how you live it and how you serve others. And just we're grateful to have you be part of the industry. And certainly I know Mom is very glad that you were part of the association.
Okay, so if you're listening and you want to attend the Immersive event, you can go to globalworkspace.org and find it under events, and make sure you get on the email list, because I send a great email every week, and that way you won't miss out on any of the upcoming events like the conference in September. So yeah. Awesome.
And essentially, if you are a current member or interested in membership, feel free to reach out to me directly. I have no problem. I want to have these conversations. I want to start just plugging in. So you can reach me directly, Megan, MEGAN, at globalworkspace.org. Happy to. May have to wait a couple weeks to have a call. I'm kind of crazy busy right now, but I do want to connect. I want to meet you. I want to re-engage. So
awesome. Yes. And I know you do have a lot going on right now, and Gio roped you into recording a podcast today. So thank you for taking
my first podcast. Oh my gosh, you guys
good.
Okay,
next time she's singing. Awesome. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.